There we go. All right. So today we're going to be talking about character types in literature. We're going to start with just a little icebreaker. So I'm Brianna. I am secondary English language arts education. I'm from a small town in Nebraska called Battle Creek, and my favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and my favorite movies are the Top Gun movies. So if you guys want to go down the line and answer these questions. We can start with you, Megan.
I'm Megan, and I'm technically in like a special program through LPS and UNL, but I got my bachelor in psychology. I'm from Lincoln. My favorite book is probably In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Favorite movie, um, probably 10 Things I Hate About You.
That's a great one. All right. Derek or Daniel, whoever wants to go.
I can go. I'm Derek. I am a special ed. I'm getting my special ed endorsement. Um, I am from Omaha, Nebraska. It's been quite some time since I've read a book for enjoyment. I liked the Goosebumps books a lot as a kid. I guess I'll go with those. I liked Goosebumps as a kid, so I'll go with that as my favorite book. Favorite movie. I'm a big Star Wars guy, so Star Wars.
Great. All right, Daniel.
I'm Daniel. My major is secondary education for social sciences. I'm from here in Lincoln. I'm the same as Derek. I haven't read a book in quite a while, but I was a big Percy Jackson guy when I was younger. Favorite movies probably like Risky Business or The Long Goodbye. I think those are both classics.
Nice. All right. Thank you, guys. So our objectives today are we're going to be able to define and differentiate between different types of literary characters, brainstorm examples, and look at some popular characters and determine what types they are. So we're going to be looking at this through the lens of like a freshman or sophomore in high school, and looking at it through books and movies. So first, I would like you to click on this link if you can, or scan the QR code and then type in what types of characters you know already in that poll. If it works, we'll see. And can you guys see this? The responses? And let me know if it doesn't work. I've never used this before, but um, I tested it and it worked out fine.
It opened up a bar for me to submit. You're gonna have the questions for us?
Oh, it's just what types of characters do you know already?
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Wait, so we're just talking about different protagonists that we know?
So protagonist was my test answer. So, um, like, what's a type of character that you know? So, like, I answered protagonist. You could also answer protagonist if that's what you know. Great. I'm not sure which one of you guys answered those, but those are great answers. And give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready. So this is set up in a word cloud format. So um, I'm guessing almost all of us put protagonist, which is why protagonist is bigger. So now we're gonna leave here and go back to the slides. Um, I'm really happy that you guys know some of them. So now we're gonna watch a quick video. This is a great video that explains, so we're gonna watch a lot of little clips of it explaining what each type is. But first, these are
As
the
we
differences.
read, we come across many different kinds of characters. Today we're going to be learning to recognize the different types of characters in fiction. A character can be either a protagonist or an antagonist. They can be either dynamic or static. They can be either round or flat.
Could you guys all hear that okay?
Mhm.
Perfect.
As we read,
Okay. So as he said in the video, the 6 types of characters are protagonist, antagonist, static, dynamic, round, and flat. And one character can be 3 of these, or they could just be one. So we're first going to look at the protagonist.
the protagonist is the main character in a story. For example, Spider-Man in the Spider-Man comic book series, or the boy in The Boy Who Cried Wolf, or of course, Cinderella in the fairy tale Cinderella. The protagonist can be a good character, but this is not always the case, as in Walter White of Breaking Bad, or Ebenezer Scrooge in Charles Dickens' A Christmas.
So as he said, the protagonist is the main character, and then now we're going to look at the antagonist, who, as he's going to say, is someone that opposes or challenges the main character.
The character, or group of characters that stands against the protagonist, is referred to as the antagonist. For example, the wolf in The Boy Who Cried Wolf, or the wicked stepmother in Cinderella. The antagonist is usually considered to be bad, but this is not always the case. Sometimes the antagonist simply has something to learn.
All right. So as we're watching these, I want you to start to think of examples of the characters, and we'll use that later. So now we're going to look at dynamic versus static. This is dynamic.
A dynamic character is a character that experiences some type of important inner change. A character that experiences inner growth or learns an important lesson is said to be a dynamic character.
All right, so as he said, dynamic characters change and grow, and now static characters are mostly going to stay the same.
That changes very little throughout a story. They tend to learn no important lessons, nor make any significant changes, such as a schoolyard bully or an evil villain who don't learn the errors of their ways.
All right, and then the last 2 are round versus flat, and determining round versus flat is all about how much you know about the character. This is round.
Round characters are often well-developed, lifelike characters with realistic emotions, conflicting feelings, and multiple traits.
All right, and then flat characters you don't know much about, or they don't have a lot going on.
Flat characters are the opposite. They are often one-dimensional characters who typically lack emotional depth. We may know some of their traits, but we probably don't understand why they are the way they are.
All right, so now we're going to think about some examples. So first, there's also 2 more types that will come into play later, but a minor character is someone that you know even less about than a flat character. And then a sympathetic character is somebody that you sympathize with. I don't know if any of you have seen the Harry Potter movies, or read the books, but I would say that Harry Potter is a very good example of a sympathetic character, because over the books, you kind of start to feel bad for him and sympathize with him. If you also had that reaction. And then the minor character example that I have is the wolf in Shrek, because really doesn't play much of a role. All right, so these are going to be some examples that I came up with. So the protagonist I came up with is Maverick from Top Gun, because I love those movies. So obviously, he's a protagonist, the main character, and then the antagonist example, I have Scar from The Lion King. Pretty typical of an evil villain to be the antagonist. The round, I have Shrek. Shrek says himself that ogres are like onions because they have layers. So obviously, he has a lot of different traits and characters that we know a lot about. And then flat, I have this dude from Harry Potter. Don't know much about him. Dynamic, I have the Grinch. Obviously, the Grinch's heart grows 3 sizes, so he changes a lot, and that's very evident. And then for static, I have President Snow from the Hunger Games. So the next thing that you can do, we're going to make our own slide like this in a second. So you could either make a slide that has all different characters, or you could do something like this that has all characters from one film or one book, and then decide which character type they are. So I have these 4 examples, and I'm going to ask each of you what type of character they are. So who would like to do Shrek?
Hang on,
All
I'll do
right.
Shrek.
All right. So which of the 6 types of characters do you think Shrek is?
He is a protagonist. I'd say he's a pretty round character and dynamic.
All right, let's see. Perfect. Great job. Yeah, so he's obviously the main character. He's dynamic because he changes, and then round because we know a lot about him. So great job with that. Who would like to take Lord Farquaad?
I'll take
Have
a
you
crack
guys
at it.
have you guys all seen Shrek?
I've
Oh
seen-
gosh. Okay. Well, take your best guess then.
I would assume they're the antagonist and that they're probably flat.
Yes. All right. Yes, antagonist. Great job. That was I'm sorry. I tried to pick a movie that I thought maybe everyone had seen. Static, so he doesn't change very much and he's flat. We don't know much about him. He's just the evil villain, etc. And then Derek, would you like to take a crack at Donkey?
Yeah, I guess I feel like Donkey is, in some ways, he's kind of like a protagonist, but I suppose if there can only be one, then he would be he'd be a minor character, I guess. Uh, he's he's static and round, I would say. We know a lot about him, but I feel like his personality doesn't change much. Mostly stays the same
Yeah.
character. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
great job. So you made a great point with the can there only be one protagonist? That's kind of up for your interpretation. A lot of it, like a lot of things in literature, it's kind of what you decide. And so the character types are also based on that. So there are set answers, but also if you think that Donkey is a protagonist, then he's a protagonist. So great job with that. And then does anybody want to take a crack at the gingerbread man? All
I
right,
can do
so
Gingerbread Man.
okay, go for it.
I would say he is a minor character and he's pretty flat and static.
Yeah, exactly. Great job. All right, so now it's your turn. So I want you each to make your own slide. And I would say I have 2 slides for everybody, but I want you each to pick either a movie or a book slide and then find examples of each of the characters. So you can work on that. There we go. You should all have a slide. And does anybody have any questions while you're working on that? Perfect. So just give a thumbs up when you're done. Um, and you can add pictures or text, whatever you want. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and delete the slides that you're not working on. All right, take like 30 more seconds, and just get a couple more in there. And then we're going to talk about them. All right, so I want you to stop wherever you're at. And then we'll go through and I want you to kind of explain your thought process. So, Megan, looks like you're first. Do you want to explain to us?
Yes, I did not get things typed in yet, but I can explain all of them.
That's all right.
This is 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie. So I think that what did I just forget his name? Patrick is his name. Patrick, the first picture right here, he is, I would say he's like one of the protagonists, but he is a flat and sort of round character. He changes a little bit, but not a ton. Yeah, he's round. But he's flat because we don't know a ton about him. And then Kat is a protagonist, and she is probably, I would say, a dynamic character and round as well. And then Joey is the antagonist, because he challenges technically Kat and Patrick, but he is also static and flat because he stays the same, like doesn't learn anything. Oh, and also Kat, she like changes by the end, which makes her dynamic.
I agree. Great job. Yeah, you did great with those. All right, Derek.
Okay. I actually added I have one more on there now that
Oh, okay.
but I didn't get any pictures down, but the 4 characters I did were Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, and Emperor Palpatine. I feel that Vader, well, I guess I'm thinking about I was thinking about the Star Wars trilogy as a whole instead of just the first movie, but
Oh,
throughout the
that's
entire
totally
first
fine.
trilogy, Vader is mostly an antagonist. I don't guess I don't want to get into spoilers or anything in case anyone hasn't seen it. Mostly an antagonist, but his character does change a lot, and over the course of it, we get to learn a lot about him.
Yeah.
Luke, uh, Luke is also he's a protagonist who has a lot of character development throughout the trilogy, and we learn a lot about him. Chewbacca is more of a minor character who has a stays pretty consistent with his tone throughout, and we don't know that much about. He doesn't even actually ever have any lines of dialogue that the audience knows. And then there's Emperor Palpatine, who is another antagonist, and we don't learn that much about him either, and he is also pretty static. He stays pretty consistently, just like an evil dude for the most part. So I didn't have any pictures or anything, but that's what I had.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Those are great. I haven't seen Star Wars, but from what I know about it, that seems fairly accurate. So great job with that. And then Dan.
You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
So The Long Goodbye, Marlowe's the protagonist. He's like a detective, but he generally stays the same through the entire movie until like the end. And so I said that he was basically static and he was kind of round because of the motivations he gains by the end. Then Marty Augustine's like a mob boss basically, and the entire movie he just plays as an antagonist where he just kind of makes Marlowe's life hell, but he doesn't really have any concrete motivations to do this to Marlowe.
Yeah, perfect. Those were great explanations. You guys all did really great with applying that knowledge. So I was gonna play a Kahoot, but it looks like I don't have time. So that's where I'm gonna end it. All right. Thank you guys.